Okay, here's another thing I do on Predictas. The tube sockets on Predictas, besides being difficult to replace just because of the nature of the Predicta design, are often a weak spot. And I'll explain to you what happens, what goes wrong. You see the tube pins go into these little holes here. And there's a little small metal bridge right here. Then this pin goes down into the PC board. This little bridge across between the female receptacle side of this tube socket and the male side that goes down into the PC board, that little thin piece of metal, I presume, gets heat stressed and or physically stressed from insertion and removal of the tube socket. Even looking at them is not guaranteed because sometimes they'll get these almost microscopic fractures and they can be very hard to see the problem. I've had a couple of them where they have pretty flaky tube sockets. And you really can't test them directly. You'd think, well, you can just use your digital voltmeter on the continuity test and just do something like this where you just go through and, you know, okay, here we go. You just kind of go through, touch the two sides. Okay, good, right? That proves that this bridge is good. Not necessarily, because very active me pressing it down on there is enough to influence the outcome of this test. So what I like to do is put a tube socket in there, a tube socket extender, a test socket. And what that does is basically simulates as though there is a tube in the actual circuit itself. And then I'll go through and I'll use the test points. So for instance on this one, I'll go ahead and hook up to the tester. Let's see. Well, let's try to get a convenient point here. Here we go. I'll hook up the tube tester, the continuity tester. In this case, it's this pin here I'm testing. I see where it is on the PC board, where it comes out, and then I'll just test here to this test point. And I'll take it and I'll actually hold that in there and wobble this around some too. So if that thing had a break, you'd hear a break in that action. And just go through and do them all the same way. Yeah. Go all the way around, testing each one. I've already done that all on this set and checked all the tube sockets. They all look good. So I don't anticipate any problems. Oh, as far as removing stuff, again, you don't want to like grab and manhandle these things. So here I am, taking this little flattened piece of fiberglass rod, inserting it underneath the, in this case, the test socket. Just twist it. You know, this puts a lot less strain on the PC board because you're basically pressing off from the socket against the tube, or in this case the extender, rather than just yanking straight up on the PC board and overstressing it. Make sure the pins are straight on the tube. Make sure you lubricated the socket and it goes right in nice and neat. Anyway, I've already done that on all these. One thing I did notice is this tube socket has been replaced, which I was surprised, seeing as the board doesn't look like it's been removed, but it happens to be on one of the ones that there's easy access to. So that probably explains why this one's been replaced. That's one less I have to worry about. And that's about it for now. I think what I'm going to do, my next test run, since I didn't really have a good way of checking the primary on this transformer, is just for the heck of it, I'll probably pull the B plus warm up here. I think that's in the B plus line, and just see if the filaments all light up. I mean, filaments all come up. That brings the primaries okay. We already checked the secondary, so we know it's okay. So I mean, that'll be a pretty good indicator. I can also check the current pull, you know, to see what it's doing. With just the filaments lighting up, I wouldn't imagine it being much more than, you know, a few hundred milliamps at most. So anyway, we'll check that out and see, but that's it for now. I just want to make that one note about the tube sockets. Also, be sure before you even take the first tube socket out, when you first get one of these Predictas, just give it a shot of that stuff there. Make this removal process much smoother. Same thing on this cap. Sometimes they get frozen, so I just go in here and give it a quick spritz of that stuff. It kind of works its way into there, and try not to twist it or pull it off. Just kind of, you can tell if the cap's okay. Yeah, it comes off fairly well without anything feeling weak. There you go. That's it. More later. Thanks again.